Glad to see you made it to here. I want to talk about what's been going on with your wife. See, women and men communicate differently. Women hint, and they think they're communicating clearly. Women do not sit down with their husband and say, I'm unhappy with the way things are in our marriage, and if things don't change, I'm going to start thinking about divorcing you. Women don't do that. What women do is they retreat, they become standoffish. You'll notice the sex becomes less frequent. It becomes obligatory sex. There's no passion. It's just to keep you happy and get you off. My wife, all those years ago, I didn't realize any of this, the 2-year clock. I asked to go to marriage counseling because I knew something wasn't right, and she said everything was fine. Men, if your wife says everything is fine, what do you know? Thank you. Everything isn't fine. I went, yes, I don't have to go to marriage counseling. Everything's fine, because I was an idiot back then. And 2 years later, almost to the day, she said, I want a divorce. I knew something wasn't right. The sex, passion-wise, on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 2 or a 3. I didn't know better. But it was 2 or 3 times a week because she knew as long as that was happening, she could buy her time till she found my replacement. That's the reality of it, and I was too clueless to correct it. And so they start withdrawing. They become less communicative. It is not uncommon that when you enter the room, they leave the room. You get a lot of one-word answers. And it's frustrating because you can't really have decent conversations. She becomes a little more argumentative, but not enough to cause alarm. And the problem is, we think this is just a phase that she's going through, and it'll settle down when the kids get a little older. That's always the mindset. And the reality is that's not the case. Okay? So I want you to take a deep breath and realize this isn't your fault. Did you contribute to it? Yes. But you didn't understand what was going on. Nobody's taught you this. Nobody teaches you how to be a great man and a great husband. And a lot of it's counterintuitive, as we talked about earlier. So understand, if you're watching this video and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, she's much less communicative and she's more argumentative and she's disengaged and she's got her head buried in her phone. Those are your warning signs. The clock has begun. And she believes she's made it clear to you she's unhappy. And there's 2 issues there. One, she hasn't clearly communicated to you. Again, it goes to the difference between the feminine mind and the masculine mind. But she believes she has. And as we said earlier, she's not a bad woman. She's a good woman. She's struggling. She's hurting because no one taught her how to be a great wife and how to be a better woman. And she's mistakenly placing the burden of her happiness on you instead of realizing happiness is an inside job and it's up to her to make herself happy, which is what we teach men. You've got to do this for you, and you're responsible for your own happiness. And when you free yourself of the chains of her making you happy or her being your whole world, it's amazing how your life will flourish. So it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. And that's the thing. You can't beat yourself up for something you weren't taught. And I want to talk in the next lesson about some things we should be teaching all men. All right? And give you somewhere to start this journey, even if you don't join Mentoring Men. Even if you don't do coaching, whether it's group or one-on-one, I still want to help you. All right, brother? Thanks.